Hey, good Thursday evening, everyone. It's weather for Weather Geeks. We're going to cover a lot this evening, and the first thing I want to do is talk about the winter forecast. As you hopefully remember, we initially put out the winter forecast about a month ago. It was right around the first day of November, and when we talk about the winter forecast, we're talking about the months of December, January, and February. Now we're on December 1st, and I've got a couple of small revisions to the forecast, nothing major, but I'll tell you what I have in mind now as we've gotten more information over the last few weeks. Here's the bottom line, and this hasn't changed. I still think this will be kind of the most average winter we've had in about 7 years, and that means in terms of temperatures and snowfall. The last few years have been characterized by very cold and snowy winters, followed by a very warm winter last year. And I think this year will be about as close to average as we've been in a while. Compared to last winter, the current month, December, will be the biggest, most noticeable change. Last December was the warmest on record in Youngstown. We had almost no snow whatsoever, and temperatures were ridiculously warm. You might remember how warm it was around Christmas time last year. As far as the snowfall, this was what I put out a month ago, near to slightly above average. I am starting to hedge a little more towards just near average. I'm not sure if we get above average. It'll depend on if we get a decent storm or two, but right now I'm not seeing a lot of signals for any sort of particularly snowy pattern in the next month or so. We'll see how January and February shake out. This was the snow forecast we went out with. I did not change anything here. I just want to hedge a little bit towards the lower numbers. Right now we have a forecast of 5 to 10% above average snowfall. If I were a betting man, I would hedge a little more towards the 5 than the 10 right now. Certainly December does not look particularly snowy. January and February, the chances will increase, but does that mean we get 10% above average snow? I'm a little doubtful about that. But again, one storm can skew these numbers. So a snow forecast on a seasonal scale is pretty difficult. All right, I have made a few tweaks to the temperature forecast for the winter. And of course, I put out a map here for the entire country, but we care most about eastern Ohio and western PA. As you may remember, and you can go watch the video, you can see the forecast. It's still on my blog, ericwfmj.com. Click on seasonal forecasts. You may remember I had us in the -1 to -2 zone for the winter temperature forecast. What I've done is taken us out of that and now just kind of have us in the average zone. It's not a big change, but I think, right now I can't definitively say we're going to have a below average winter because December doesn't look particularly cold. I mean, it's going to get cold next week, but I don't think it sticks, and I'll show you why in just a second. So I think because of that, I'm just going to go ahead and say average for temperatures this winter. This is a tough forecast, and I talked about this when we put out the forecast. This year is the most challenging winter forecast I've done over the last few. And the reason for that, we don't have a strong climate signal coming from the Pacific. You remember last year we had a raging El Nino. That made the forecast actually not all that challenging. A raging El Nino usually means warm weather for us. This year we have a very weak, very tenuous La Nina, and it may just be neutral at this point. It may just stay neutral all winter. And when you take that out of the equation, that means that there can be more ups and downs, and other factors that are hard to predict on a seasonal scale can get involved. It makes the seasonal forecast a lot more difficult. So this forecast is a lower confidence forecast than the winter forecasts I've done over the last few years. All right, enough about winter. Let's talk about today. It felt wintry today. Wind chills today mostly bobbed around between 25 and 30 this afternoon. Overall, across the country this evening, weather's pretty quiet. We had some tornadoes over the last few days down in parts of the deep south. Yesterday around Charlotte and down to Atlanta. The day before that, of course, parts of Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. All those areas have cleared out. We, of course, have clouds. What else is new? Hey, it's early December. We expect it to be pretty cloudy around these parts. This sea of clouds will be with us all night and all day tomorrow and most of Saturday as well. What's going to come out of these clouds? Not much, just like today. I think as we go into our Friday, there could be a flurry, and especially later in the day, later Friday into Friday night, there may be some stragglers coming down off the lake that might try to give a little candy coating to some car tops and that sort of thing. Again, this will be mostly late Friday into Friday night. We hang on to the clouds into the weekend. Saturday is going to be a lot like today and a lot like tomorrow. Maybe there's a flurry or two, especially in the morning. Sunday, we might try to see the sun for a little while, but I do think these clouds win the battle again before the day is through, and may even try to spread a little light snow our way as we go into late Sunday into Sunday night. I don't think it'll add up to much, but there could be some small snow accumulations late Sunday, Sunday night. Well, speaking of snow accumulations, well, we're not expecting really any around here, except, I mentioned that little candy coating on maybe a few car tops up north. Up in the lake effect zones in northwest PA, southwest New York, a few inches worth of snow possibility. Someone could even try to see a half a foot. Erie County, PA, up into Chautauqua and Cattaraugus counties in New York. All right, let's talk about that big cold shot coming at the end of next week. Right now, the cold is still, the real intense cold, still bottled up over the Northwest Territories and into Alaska. But it's going to get dislodged and come south. And it's going to plow east. And this will be the coldest air mass of the season so far, heading our way for the end of next week and into parts of next weekend. And it's going to come with some wind. Check out these wind chill numbers. Horrendous numbers out across the prairies of Canada. For us, I think those the lowest wind chills we'll see will be Friday into Friday night, and we could be talking about single digits. It's really going to feel like wintertime coming here in about 7, 8, 9 days. So get ready for that. I do think there can be some snow showers with the arrival of the cold air Thursday into Thursday night, perhaps some small accumulations, but I don't think there's a big snowstorm that accompanies the arrival of this. There will be some lake effect as we go into next weekend, but it's still too early to say if this is going to be more of a New York problem, a Northwest PA problem, or if the snow belts in Northeast Ohio do pretty well. So more details on that as we get a little bit closer, but very high confidence it's going to turn awfully cold coming up at the end of next week. Thanks for watching tonight's weather for Weather Geeks. We have football tonight, so we'll be on a little late, but hope you'll stay up and watch us on 21 News. I'll have the 7-day forecast and lots of other good stuff as well.